Welcome back to The Explainer. We often search for wisdom in these big, complex books, right? But what if the deepest truths are actually hidden in the simplest stories? Today, we're on the hunt for a golden thread that connects an ancient fable, a really stubborn miller, and even a famous philosopher. So let's pull on that thread and just see where it leads us.
Yeah, every great story seems to start this way, doesn't it? It's a promise of a journey, some kind of hero, and a lesson at the end. Our journey today starts in a pretty familiar fairy tale world, but trust me, it ends somewhere you'd never expect, with a huge revelation about how our own minds work.
And just like that, we take a hard turn. From a simple storybook opening to this, a really heavy-hitting quote from the philosopher Nietzsche. It feels like a totally random jump, I know, but stick with me. There's a powerful connection hiding right here in plain sight.
So what is this golden thread? What could possibly connect a desperate man's crazy bargain with a king, a miller who just refuses to sell his property, and our own unique place in the natural world? It's a puzzle for sure. Let's solve it together.
Okay, so let's dive into our first story. This one throws us right into a super desperate situation. A poor man pushed to the absolute limit by a cruel and powerful king. So here's the scene. The stakes could not be higher. Pay your taxes or you die. The only problem, the man is completely, totally broke. From every single angle, this looks like a hopeless, dead-end situation. There's just no way out. Or is there? And this is where it gets wild. The man makes a completely absurd offer. He promises the impossible. I will teach your horse how to talk. It sounds like absolute madness, but the king, maybe he's amused, maybe he's intrigued, he actually agrees. He gives the man 1 year. 1 year to do the impossible, or it's off with his head.
But see, the man had a secret. He wasn't being a fool, he was being a genius. Later, he explained his logic. He said, look, in 1 year, anything can happen. The king might die. The horse might die. Heck, I might die of natural causes. Or, and this is the best part, who knows? Maybe the horse will learn to talk. He realized he wasn't really promising a talking horse. He was buying himself the single most valuable thing anyone can have in a crisis: time.
And that's the lesson, right there. When he was backed into a corner, the man didn't see a brick wall, he saw a calendar. By widening his perspective beyond the immediate threat, he literally created possibility out of thin air. It's a total masterclass in creative thinking and resilience. Okay, let's move on to our next story and see how this all builds. This one isn't about being clever to escape death, but about a whole different kind of strength, the unshakable power of your convictions.
So here we go, another king. This one wants to build a palace right where a humble miller's windmill stands. And the king's offer is just astronomical, 40 times what the mill is worth. We're talking life-changing money. But the miller's answer is simple and firm. Nope, it's not for sale.
And his reasoning for this was so profound. His refusal wasn't about the money or even the property. It was all about principle. By saying no, he was refusing to take part in something he saw as a spreading injustice. He just decided he would not be a part of it, period.
The takeaway here is huge. The miller teaches us something really important about integrity. He shows us that there are some values, things like justice and moral conviction, that you just can't put a price tag on. His strength wasn't in creating new possibilities, it was in holding on tight to one single, unwavering principle.
All right, now we're going to shift gears. We've looked at stories, so now let's get into a more direct philosophical idea from our source material. What is our actual place in the world, and, what does that demand from us? So the source gives us this really fascinating way to look at our place in the world. Think of it like a ladder. Down at the bottom, you've got minerals, totally static and lifeless. Step up, and you've got plants. They can grow, but they can't move. Above them, animals. They can move, they act on instinct, and, this is important, they don't complain. And then, at the very top, there's us. We not only move,
We build entire civilizations, we store knowledge, we create culture.
And here is the absolute key difference. The source points out that we are the creatures who complain, the ones who are never totally satisfied. But that's not a flaw. That same restlessness is directly tied to our greatest gifts, our intelligence and our conscience. We complain because we can imagine a better world. So you see, our ability to think, to reflect, to store all this knowledge, and to feel that things could be better, that's not a curse. It's a responsibility. It's a call to action, telling us to use that intelligence and that conscience with wisdom, to care for ourselves, for each other, and for the world that we all share.
So let's bring it all together. We've got a clever man buying time, a principled miller standing his ground, and our own special place in nature. How in the world do these different threads finally connect?
And here it is. This is where the golden thread pulls tight. The clever man used his perspective to find possibility in a terrible situation. The miller used his perspective to defend a principle against immense pressure. And our very nature as humans gives us the perspective of responsibility. It all points back to that same truth, the one Nietzsche hinted out right at the beginning. Our challenges don't have to break us, they can remake us and make us stronger.
This incredibly powerful state of awareness, the one that all of this wisdom is pointing towards, actually has a name in our source material: the sensing mind. Now, this isn't just passively being aware of things. It's a mind that actively listens, that understands, and that transforms hardship into an opportunity for growth, for solutions, and even for beauty.
And this is the final, crucial connection. That self-control we saw in both the clever man and the miller, that's the path to developing this sensing mind. By mastering our impulses and focusing on what truly matters, we start to build a mindset that just naturally moves toward positivity, trust, and finding solutions instead of getting stuck on problems.
So we'll end by turning the question back to you. We found this golden thread that connects all these different stories and ideas. What about in your own life? What simple story, maybe a fable you heard as a kid, or just an observation you made one day, holds a deep, guiding lesson for you? Sometimes the greatest wisdom is hiding right there, just waiting for us to find it.